everybody and welcome to the flute practice. I have seen this issue so many times and on so many students that it really has got me thinking, like, this very well might be one of the most important kind of factors in flute playing. I am talking today about embouchure and jaw flexibility. And wait a minute, let me explain. So there are really 4 reasons why I think this is so huge. The first reason is when we have a tight embouchure and a locked tight jaw, it is going to affect your intonation. So if you are constantly playing out of tune, it's very possible that this is the problem. Number 2, it affects your dynamics or your ability to play dynamics and especially to play them in tune. Number 3, it affects your ability to jump registers easily and quickly. And very often I find students that struggle with this, they're either having to really force in the high registers, they're usually quite tight, or they're often kind of dropping or kind of dipping down to the lower octave and not quite getting there. The last, and honestly I think probably the biggest reason, is that it is going to affect your flute tone in a huge way. I mean, like, if you thought that intonation, dynamics and register changes were not enough to ruin your flute playing completely, then hopefully the tone will convince you. So while I am speaking here about kind of tension and tightness in the jaw, what I'm really speaking more about is our ability to be flexible and move the embouchure and the jaw. And in order to actually move freely and easily, we need to be free in the first place in our embouchure and jaw. So jaw tension and embouchure tension are going to be your worst nightmare. I'm going to drop some links down below for any of you who are specifically struggling in that area. Okay, so as I said, we don't want to be super duper tight in the corners here, because usually this comes along with a tightness in the cheeks. Like, if you can almost feel your cheeks between your teeth, they are really tight, like there's an issue. So the first thing I want us to do is we're just going to play a note, and all you're going to think about is space between your 2 back teeth. For some of you, this might be really challenging already. Like, some of you might genuinely not be able to get a sound out when you open up and release. Other ways to think about this is thinking of haw, hot potato in the back of your mouth, yawning feeling. All of these things are really to help open up and release the jaw and open the throat. Okay guys, I'm going to walk you through a really great little way to explore and experiment this embouchure and jaw flexibility. Now the first thing we're going to do, all you're going to do is you're just going to say p. So you're just going to do. Now for those of you who are struggling with this, it's not a p inward. So we're not doing like that. It's really, you are putting the lips together, and all you're going to do now is you're going to let the air separate those lips, but let them separate outward. So it's like you're really spitting a little pip. Another nice way to think about this is if you think about the inner kind of fleshy wet part of the lip, that's kind of moving outwards. Okay, so once you can do that away from the instrument, you're kind of getting the idea. We're going to put the flute there and we're just going to do it on the flute. So you can also do a beforehand just to get the lips in that position. Now, and I'm going to say this a whole bunch of times today, in any of these points, if you struggle in this area, chances are when you do this, you are going to first struggle to get a sound or to get a good sound. And I am really seriously going to encourage you guys, like, I cannot say this enough, do not, I repeat, do not try and compensate by going back to the old habit, or in your mind, do whatever it takes to create a sound. Rather allow yourself to make no sound, but focus on the specific task I'm giving you and only focus on that. So don't think, okay, I'm going to do the p so I can get a sound. Think, let me just do the p and see what happens. This is a time to be experimental. This is a time to explore and be creative, and we are looking for a new way. If you were in this video and you're still watching this video, chances are what you were doing was not working for you that well. So we are looking for a new way. I'm going to say this a few times, guys. Okay, so once the p is coming along nicely, we are now going to start moving the jaw. We're going to do it first away from the flute. So all we're going to do, we're going to do the p, and then we are literally just going to move this jaw backwards and forwards. Now, like a little anatomy moment here, the jaw is the only part of the skull that actually moves. We can move it side to side, sort of. We can move it backwards and forwards, and we can kind of move it up and down, obviously. And you will see that when I move it down, it actually will go back a little bit, and I bring it up, it'll come forward a little bit. And we can add to this a little bit more forward and a little bit more back. So we've got this range of motion. So literally, all I want us to do now is we're going to do the pa, and then we're going to slide the jaw forward. And by now, the air should hopefully be touching or blowing on your nose. And then you're going to slide the jaw back and down. And the air could potentially go all the way down to your chin. Okay, that is the basic movement. And you can just roll that air. You can even feel it on your hand if you just roll it up and down. Very important here, guys. Do not get tight here. Do not try and do with this tight jaw. You can feel if you tighten the corners here, this is automatically, immediately going to get tight. This is not. So we just want to always start with the pa and then roll from there. Do not overthink this, guys. This is so easy to overthink all kinds of embouchure work. We start to like get into our head. Just focus on this jaw moving backwards and forwards and this just being released. Okay, once you're kind of getting used to that movement, time to add the flute. So we're going to do the pa and we're just going to roll the air. I'm saying it again. We are not trying to make a nice sound here. We are just rolling the jaw backwards and forwards. Got it. Do it from the side, you can see. You are not trying to make a fancy sound there. You are just experimenting and finding this new range of motion. For some of you, this might be a first time thing. You're like, wow, I didn't even know I could move my mouth like that. I don't know. Okay, once that is starting to feel quite comfortable, quite natural, that movement, we are now going to add the lips. Now the lips, I really think the lips are in many ways kind of like the nozzle on a hose pipe. So just like a hose pipe, like if I point a hose pipe in a certain direction, it's going to go in that direction. Like if I need it to go in a different direction, there's nothing I can do to that nozzle to make it go in a different direction. It's, you know, the direction is set, and that's the jaw. The jaw really sets the direction. It decides where that air is going to go. The lips just control, they sort of fine tune that air direction and help control the quality of that direction. So there very well may be some of you that are doing wonderful, relaxed, beautiful embouchures, but you are completely locked and tight in your jaw. And you are doing all the controlling work with your muscles here. And they're probably getting quite tired, like after a while, because it is a lot of work, a little bit too much work, and it's not very effective. So we're going to take this jaw movement, and we are now going to let the lips go along. Yes, they're going to go along, especially this kind of upper part. For me, it often feels sort of like almost like it lifts away a little bit from those front teeth, that I'm kind of creating almost like a little bit of bubble of sound, just kind of in front of those teeth. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go into a low F. It's quite a nice note to do it on. Guys, we are not trying to do anything fancy. You're going to move the jaw and allow the upper lip to go along. Do not try and jump up to the high octave. You are going to go back to that old habit. Don't do it. Just allow the lips to go with. Don't try and... I'm purposefully not going to that high octave because I'm trying to make a point. Okay, but that being said, if you're playing around and you're starting to hear that upper note come every now and then, that isn't a bad thing. Like, don't actively try not to do it like me. That's silly. It is a good thing. That's the whole point. But what you're going to now do is when you hear that little note starting to come, you're just going to add a little bit more support in air. You're just going to increase that air speed and just support a bit more. And yes, you should hopefully be getting some nice octaves. I'm going to show you guys this from the side. And now adding the airspeed. It should feel like super duper effortless. Like, please put a comment down below if that felt effortless, because that's how it should feel. It shouldn't be a difficult thing to do. It's a lot closer. The movement is quite tiny, but it is so important to just maneuver that airstream. I want to be one of those telemarketers that's like, money back guarantee. If you do this, you will improve, because you will. Like, it is really so important. And if you can get this right, I promise you so many issues are going to fix themselves. Patience, 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 patience. Just keep practicing, keep working, keep exploring, and don't try to do anything other than these specific exercise tasks that I've given you guys to do. If you guys would like some more help, you perhaps are struggling to really find your sound, to kind of find freedom in this area, I'm going to encourage you guys, go check out on my website my online lessons tab. I offer online lessons and consultations, and maybe what you need is to actually just work one-on-one with someone for a while to really help find and discover your sound. The first session is free. If it's something that you're seriously considering, you really have nothing to lose. Go fill out the application form there and I will get back to you about that. This should be fun. This should be freeing. This should be exciting. Like, if you were standing here at the end of this video and you're like, I never knew I had these problems, we should celebrate, because it's only when we discover the problems that we have that we are able to fix them. Okay guys, until then, happy practicing, and I will see you next time.